In a way, it's almost reassuring that they're taking their time, even though it feels like they've lost a bit of momentum, because we know that perhaps that means we could get a more meaningful, sustainable, enforceable deal at the end of all this.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we recognize the complexity of the issues that exist in the U.S. China economic relationship, and of course the implications not just for the United States, but for our allies and for the broader global economy. I do think it's really important that there is time being taken. I think, as you note, having some kind of sustainable deal that does actually get at some of the underlying structural issues in the relationship would be extremely important. I think a narrow focus on tariffs, really kind of focusing on the pure trade deficit aspects of the relationship, as the president has seemed to be inclined to do at times, I don't think would lead to the kind of deal that would actually be in favor of the United States, in our interests, or in the interests of our allies.
Laura, I want to throw up this chart that takes a look at the level of economic policy uncertainty that market participants are gauging, right? And it's not just in the US, in China, it's certainly surged in that blue line there, but you're seeing elsewhere it's still pretty high as well, be it you're talking about Asia, be it that you're talking about the US, or in fact, Europe and the Brexit woes as well. The problem with the US and China, this is the great strategic competition of our time, right? These are not issues that you can kind of resolve with a quick fix. Are we kind of just in for a few decades of uncertainty?
Yeah, I think it's a really important point. I mean, the focus in the U.S.-China relationship of the moment under the Trump administration has really been on this narrow trade dimension, on this piece of the economic slice. But in reality, I think the challenges that we face from China, from Beijing, certainly as we've seen an increased assertiveness over the past few years, are complex and broad in the economic relationship itself, but go beyond the economic relationship. The security dimensions of the relationship are getting more challenging, more complex, as we see an increasingly coercive China, an increasing interest in the Chinese Communist Party of really exerting influence well beyond its borders, and as we see the development of Chinese technological development, including tools that enable increased authoritarianism both within China's borders, but apparently externally as well.
So given the pushback that we're seeing not only on Huawei, but other tech issues as well, how likely is it that China will be able to achieve the Made in China 2025 policy by 2025?
Well, it's certainly a very ambitious target, and Xi Jinping has organized a whole lot of effort within Chinese enterprises, up from Chinese companies to Chinese state organs, really a sort of whole-of-nation approach aimed at achieving what Xi has set out. Now, it is highly ambitious, and I do think that, as you note, there is going to be significant pushback from Washington, and hopefully from our allies, certainly here in Australia. Australia's really been a leader on the question of Huawei and 5G and the security challenges that it introduces. But I do think that we need to take very seriously, Xi Jinping's technological ambitions, and whether or not they actually are able to meet the China 2025 target. I do think that the technological challenges that we're seeing from Beijing are going to be significant, and frankly, they require the United States and our allies to step up not just how we push back, but frankly how we invest in our own capabilities, how we ensure that we are actually remaining competitive ourselves. I think that is going to be a really important element of ensuring that we are able to deal with the challenges that are coming our way.